My name is Ollie, and I've been married to Zara for almost 7 years. We met through friends, and from the beginning, she was funny, smart, and beautiful. I felt lucky to have her. Our marriage wasn't perfect. No marriage is. But we shared good times, made memories, and always supported each other. Or at least, I thought we did. Over the last few months, something changed. Zara became distant. She was always busy, always on her phone, always smiling at messages. But when I asked who she was talking to, she would say, just a friend from work or nothing important. She started going out more, dressing up more often, and coming home later than usual. At first, I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. I thought maybe she was just stressed, or maybe I was imagining things. But the feeling in my heart told me something was off. I tried to brush it aside. I told myself I was overthinking. After all, we had been together for years. She wouldn't lie to me. Would she? Then came the Thanksgiving plan. Zara told me she wanted to host dinner at our house this year. She was excited, a little too excited. She said she had already invited her parents, my sister, and even some distant relatives. One of them, she said, was a cousin named Zane. I paused when she mentioned him. Zane? I've never heard of him. I said, "Oh, he's from my mom's side," she replied quickly. He just moved back from another city. We haven't seen each other in years. Her answer didn't feel honest. It was too fast, too practiced. But again, I stayed silent. I didn't want to start an argument just days before the holiday. As the week went on, Zara was glowing. She cleaned the house, cooked special dishes, and kept checking her phone. I caught her smiling at her screen more than once, and hiding it when I walked in. One night, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she went to shower. I know it's not right to check someone's phone, but I had reached a breaking point. I needed to know if I was going crazy or if something really was going on. I picked it up, locked, but the home screen showed a message. Can't wait to see you again, face blowing a kiss. Z. My heart sank. I put the phone down and walked out of the kitchen. My hands were cold and my mind was racing. Could it be the same Zane? The cousin she invited to Thanksgiving? I didn't sleep that night. For the next few days, I watched more carefully. I noticed how she talked about Zane too casually, like she was trying to convince me, or herself, that there was nothing wrong. But her body language told a different story. She was nervous, too cheerful, too prepared. That's when I decided to find out the truth. And if what I suspected was right, I would not scream or shout. I would wait. I would plan. And I would expose them both, not in private, but at the Thanksgiving dinner table where everyone would be watching. After that message popped up on her phone, "Can't wait to see you again, face blowing a kissy," my world started to feel different. Even though I didn't open her phone or see the full conversation, I knew something was wrong. It was no longer just a feeling. It was real, but I didn't say anything. Not yet. I needed to be sure before doing anything. I didn't want to accuse her without proof. So I began watching closely, quietly, like a detective in my own house. Zara continued acting cheerful. Too cheerful. She talked about how nice it would be to have everyone at our place for Thanksgiving. She went shopping for decorations, ordered fresh flowers, and even bought new dishes. She was smiling all the time, but not the way she used to smile at me. It was different, like her mind was somewhere else. She mentioned Zane again. He's so excited to come. He hasn't seen anyone in the family for years, she said. I looked at her carefully. I still don't remember you ever talking about this cousin before. She laughed lightly. Well, we weren't very close, but he's family. I nodded slowly, pretending to believe her, but inside I was filled with doubt. That evening, while she was asleep, I searched her social media. Facebook, Instagram, everything. I typed in Zane and looked through her old friend list. After a few minutes, I found him, and what I saw made my stomach turn. Zane's profile had pictures of him and Zara, but not in a family way. In one picture, he had his arm around her waist. In another, they were at the beach, smiling like a couple. There were even flirty comments on some of the photos, though they were from months ago. I looked deeper and saw that Zara had liked almost every photo he posted. This was no cousin. I clicked on his profile bio, no mention of family, no photos with other relatives. Just him, his gym selfies and posts like chasing vibes and private life, happy life. I took screenshots of everything. I saved the images and sent them to myself. Still, I didn't confront her. I wanted more. I decided to create a fake profile, just a simple one, with no real photo, no details. I sent Zane a message, pretending to be someone interested in his fitness coaching, which he had listed on his page. To my surprise, he replied within hours. Friendly, talkative, and quick to share his WhatsApp number. He clearly had no idea who I really was. I didn't follow up. I didn't need to. This was enough. Later that night, Zara told me, Zane might bring a dessert. He's so sweet like that. I just nodded. Sweet, right. The more she talked about him, the more it hurt. Not because I was shocked, but because I had trusted her so much. I thought we were stronger than this. I thought she would at least be honest if she was unhappy. Instead, she lied. Again and again. By now, I had seen enough to understand what was really going on. Zane wasn't some cousin. He was the man she was sneaking around with. And the most insulting part? She had the nerve to bring him to our home during a family holiday and introduce him to me as family. That's when the anger hit me. But I didn't let it explode. I held it in, not because I was weak, but because I wanted them both to see what happens when you play games with someone who trusted you. So I began to prepare. I went to a print shop and quietly printed the screenshots. I bought a small folder to keep them neat. I planned exactly when and how I would reveal the truth. I even made a seating plan for Thanksgiving dinner, putting Zane right across from me at the table and Zara beside him. No one would expect anything. They would all be laughing, eating, sharing stories. And then I would drop the truth right in the middle of it. I could already imagine Zara's face when I'd say, "He's not your cousin, is he?" I could see Zane's expression when he realized who I really was. But I wasn't doing this to humiliate them in front of the family just for fun. I was doing it because they thought they could lie, smile, and pretend, all while stabbing me in the back. They thought I would never find out. They were wrong. Now, all I had to do was wait for Thanksgiving. And when the day came, I would give them something they would never forget. The days before Thanksgiving felt long, but I stayed calm. I didn't ask questions. I didn't fight. I didn't give any hint that I knew what Zara had been hiding. If she noticed anything strange about my behavior, she didn't say a word. Maybe she thought I was just too busy or distracted to care. Or maybe she believed her lies were working. I spent the evenings planning everything carefully. First, I printed out every screenshot I had, the pictures of them together, the comments, the chat preview from her phone, and Zane's profile. I placed them all neatly in a folder and sealed it inside a plain envelope. On the outside, I wrote one word, truth. Next, I made the seating chart. I told Zara I wanted to help organize the dinner properly. She was happy to let me take care of it. I made sure that Zane would sit directly across from me and that Zara would sit beside him. I wanted to see both of their faces clearly when everything came out. Zara was still busy decorating the house. She lit scented candles, laid out fancy tablecloths, and even ordered personalized name cards for each guest. She was smiling again, humming while she worked. If I didn't know what I knew, I would have thought she was just excited for the holiday. But now I saw through it. Her happiness wasn't for the family. It was for him. 2 nights before Thanksgiving, she stood in front of the mirror, trying on dresses. "Do you think this one looks nice?" she asked. I looked at her and nodded. "You look good." She smiled and turned back to the mirror. Zane said, "He's bringing a bottle of wine. He's really thoughtful, you know." I forced a smile. He sounded like a great guy. She didn't notice the bitterness in my voice. The night before Thanksgiving, I pretended to be tired and went to bed early. But I stayed awake, thinking. I thought about how we used to sit on the couch and watch movies together. I remembered our first road trip, our late-night talks, the time we danced in the kitchen just because we felt happy. I didn't understand how we had gone from that to this. I wasn't perfect. Maybe I didn't always listen. Maybe I didn't always show how much I cared. But I never cheated. I never lied. I never made her feel like a fool. She, on the other hand, had invited another man into her heart and into our home while looking me in the eye every day like nothing was wrong. Now it was my turn to show her what truth looked like. Thanksgiving morning arrived. Zara woke up early and started cooking. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon, turkey, and spices. She was rushing around, asking me to help with small things like setting the table and bringing out the extra chairs. I did everything she asked without a word. Zane should be here around 4, she said. Try to be nice to him, okay? He's a little shy. I smiled. Don't worry. I'll make sure he feels welcome. By noon, our families began to arrive. Her parents, my sister, a few cousins, and friends. Everyone was laughing, chatting, and enjoying the warm holiday spirit. And then he arrived. Zane walked in holding a bottle of wine and a box of chocolates. He was dressed casually, but neatly, as if he wanted to impress. Zara's eyes lit up when she saw him. She hugged him tightly, just a little too long. I watched him carefully. He looked around, then walked up to me. "Hi, I'm Zane," he said, smiling nervously. "Zara's cousin." I reached out and shook his hand. "Nice to meet you, Zane. I've heard a lot about you." He laughed awkwardly. "All good things, I hope." "Oh, yes," I said. "All very interesting." He didn't know who I really was yet. He didn't know what was coming. Everyone gathered around the table. I handed out the name cards and made sure everyone sat exactly where I planned. Zane across from me, Zara beside him. The envelope was sitting quietly near my plate, hidden under a napkin. Dinner started like any normal holiday meal. Laughter, clinking of glasses, the smell of roasted food. Zara kept looking at Zane and smiling. He looked back with the same kind of grin. They thought they were clever. They thought no one knew. But I knew. I waited until everyone was almost done eating. People were relaxing, leaning back, and sipping drinks. The perfect time. I stood up slowly. "Can I have everyone's attention for just a moment?" I said, raising my glass. People turned to look. Zara looked up, smiling. "I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Family means a lot to me. Honesty means even more." Zane shifted in his seat. Zara looked a little confused. "I especially want to welcome someone new to the table." I continued. "Zane, Zara's cousin." Zane nodded slowly, smiling. "Thank you. I'm happy to be here." I leaned forward slightly. "Zane, just curious. Which side of Zara's family are you from again? Her mother's or father's?" He hesitated. Zara jumped in quickly. "He's from my mother's side. You don't know him. Amir. They haven't seen each other in years." "Right," I said, reaching under my napkin and pulling out the envelope. "That's funny, because according to everything I found, he's not your cousin at all." Zane's smile disappeared. Zara's eyes went wide. I opened the envelope and laid the photos and messages on the table. Everyone went silent, and then all hell broke loose. As I laid the photos and screenshots on the table, everything became quiet. Too quiet. Zara froze. Zane looked like he had seen a ghost. The air, just seconds ago filled with laughter and warmth, now felt like ice. I spoke calmly. "These are photos of Zane and Zara on a beach. On a weekend, she told me she was visiting her aunt. Here's a chat screenshot. Zane texting her, 'Can't wait to see you again,' with a heart and kiss emoji. Here's her liking almost all of his photos. And here's a full screenshot of his profile, where there's not a single mention of him being her cousin." Zara opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her hands were shaking. Zane cleared his throat. "Listen, I think there's been a misunderstanding." I looked at him, cold, firm. Don't lie to me. Not here. Not now." Everyone at the table was stunned. Her mother gasped. My sister covered her mouth with her hand. My cousin whispered, "What's happening?" Zara finally spoke. "Ollie, please. Let's not do this here. Let's talk in private." "No," I said firmly. "You lied to me in front of everyone. You brought him into our home, sat him at this table, smiled in my face. If you were bold enough to cheat, you can be bold enough to face the truth, right here, right now." Tears were forming in her eyes. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You didn't mean to fall in love with your so-called cousin? I asked, you didn't mean to sneak around behind my back for months? You didn't mean to introduce your affair partner to our family and call it family? I made a mistake, she whispered. No, I said, you made choices. Zane stood up, clearly uncomfortable. I should go. I looked at him. You should have never come. He picked up his jacket and walked toward the door, but not before Zara reached out and grabbed his arm. Zane, wait! He pulled away. I'm sorry, Zara. I didn't know this was going to happen like this. He left, just like that. No fight, no defense. Just a guilty man escaping a burning house. Now everyone's eyes were on Zara. Her father finally spoke, voice low and full of disappointment. Is this true? Zara looked down, silent. Her mother was crying. You told us he was your cousin. You brought him into this house with our grandchildren sitting at the same table. How could you do this? Zara's voice was small. I don't know. I was confused. I felt ignored. I was lonely. I took a deep breath. You were lonely? I was working, helping pay the bills, trying to build a life for both of us. If something was missing, you could have told me. We could have fixed it. But you didn't want to fix it. You wanted a secret life. She tried to reach for my hand. I pulled away. You invited him to our home. You smiled at him in front of me. And all the while, you let me believe I was crazy for having doubts. Do you know how humiliating that is? Zara broke down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Ollie. I never meant to hurt you. My voice softened a little, but my heart didn't. You didn't just hurt me. You embarrassed me. You broke trust that took years to build. You ruined our marriage with lies. For a few minutes, no one said anything, just the sound of her quiet sobs and the uneasy shuffling of chairs. The Thanksgiving table was still full of food, but nobody touched it anymore. Finally, I stood up. I think dinner's over, I said, thanks to everyone who came. I'm sorry you had to witness this, but I couldn't live another day pretending I didn't know. My sister walked over and hugged me. You did the right thing. You were brave. Zara sat still, head in her hands. Her mother tried to speak to her, but Zara pushed her away gently. She knew it was over, not just the evening, but everything. One by one, people began to leave. Some offered support. Some were too shocked to say anything. But no one stayed. No one could pretend this was just a normal holiday dinner anymore. When the house was finally quiet, Zara spoke. I know you hate me. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I need you to know it wasn't just about Zane. I felt like we were drifting apart. I felt invisible. I looked at her for a moment. You should talk to me, I said. You owed me that much. She nodded slowly. You're right. I picked up the folder, walked toward the hallway, and stopped by the door. I need space, I said. I'm going to stay with my brother for a few days. Don't call me. Don't text me. Let me think. She stood silently in the kitchen, surrounded by untouched food, broken dreams, and her own guilt. As I stepped outside, the cold air hit my face, but it felt better than being in that house. A house that used to feel like home, but now only reminded me of betrayal. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just drove in silence, letting the truth sink in fully. She thought she could lie forever. She thought I would never know. She was wrong. I spent the first night at my brother's apartment. He didn't ask many questions. He had already heard what happened. News spreads fast in the family, especially when it's that shocking. He gave me space, a blanket, and silence. It was exactly what I needed. I lay awake most of the night, not because I was angry. That part had already passed. Now I just felt empty. For years, I had built a life with someone I thought I could trust. And in one evening, all of that was destroyed. I kept thinking back to the small moments, the late-night talks, the holidays, the way she used to laugh at my jokes, even the simple comfort of watching TV together after work. All of it felt fake now. Or maybe not fake, just broken. The next morning, I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see her messages or missed calls. I didn't want to hear apologies that wouldn't fix anything. For the next few days, I stayed away. I worked during the day, stayed quiet at night. I didn't tell anyone at work what had happened. I didn't cry. I didn't talk about it. But I felt it deep inside, a kind of sadness that doesn't show on your face. It just lives quietly in your chest. On the third night, I finally turned my phone back on. Zara had messaged me several times. Please talk to me. I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. Can we meet just once? I'll do anything to fix this. But she never said she ended things with Zane. She never said she regretted what they had done. Only that she was sorry she got caught. That was all I needed to know. A week after Thanksgiving, I returned to the house, but only to gather my things. Zara was there, waiting. She looked tired, pale, like she hadn't slept in days. She tried to talk, but I didn't let her. I'm not here for conversation, I said quietly. I'm here to move on. She nodded, tears already in her eyes. I never meant to lose you, Ollie. I thought I could fix this. You can't fix what you destroyed yourself, I replied. This was a mistake, Zara. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something you don't mean in anger. What you did, this was a choice. Repeated choices. You chose him. Over and over. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. I don't hate you, I said, but I don't trust you. And without trust, there's nothing left. I packed a suitcase with the things I needed, clothes, some personal files, a few photos from before everything changed. I left our wedding photo behind. I didn't want to carry that memory with me anymore. As I walked out, she asked in a whisper, "Is this really it?" I looked back one last time. Yes, it has to be. A week later, I filed for divorce. There were no fights over money or property. No drama, just paperwork. Cold, clean, and final. Some people told me I was too harsh. She was just confused, they said. You could have worked it out. But those people didn't sit at that table. They didn't see the look in her eyes when she was caught. They didn't live with the lie. I learned something important through all of this. Love isn't just about saying, I love you. It's about respect, honesty, and loyalty. Once those things are gone, love has nothing to stand on. Now, months later, I live in a small apartment. It's quiet, but peaceful. I've started going to the gym again. I cook simple meals. I call my sister more often. I spend time with people who actually care about me. Zara tried to message me once more. I didn't reply. I wasn't angry anymore. I just didn't want to reopen a chapter one had already closed. One day, maybe I'll meet someone new. Someone who doesn't lie. Someone who knows how to love honestly. But for now, I'm learning to be okay on my own. Thanksgiving will never feel the same again. But strangely, I'm thankful. Not because of what happened, but because I found the truth, because I had the strength to face it, and because I chose myself in the end. And if I ever host another Thanksgiving dinner, it will be around a table filled only with truth, peace, and people who belong.